Hello everyone and welcome to Paralux Cable Systems. Today we're going to be demonstrating how to install our self-grip and swivel receivers on wood posts. Our kits are sold in 5-foot increments in either 1/8 inch or 3/16 inch diameter wire rope. For this demonstration we are using 3/16 inch diameter wire rope. Each kit contains the wire rope with the studs swaged on one end, one swivel receiver and one self-grip receiver. Also with your order, you'll get the self-grip release tool and the lacing needle. The first thing to note is how to determine how many strands of wire rope you'll need for your run. We recommend a cable at least every 3 inches. So therefore, for your standard 36-inch high handrail, you're going to have 11 strands. A list of the required items to install our system are listed on the screen. We also offer additional items to make install a little bit easier, such as our drill guide, our bushings for in the drill guide, our drill stops, our speed wrench, and also a cable tension tester. Step number 1, drill your counter bore holes and your pilot holes. You're going to want to determine how deep into the post you're going to want your fittings. The nice thing about our system is that this is completely customizable. The only thing to remember is that with our swivel receivers, you need the flats to be exposed. With the self-grip receiver, it doesn't matter how deep you place them in the post. The only other thing to note about the depth of which you place them is taking into consideration corner posts and the mid posts where fittings are going to be on both sides of the post. As you can see in our display here, fittings are on both sides of this mid post. Therefore, we have to seat the fittings out further on this post, or the other option is to slightly off canter them. That way the threads don't hit inside the post. When you decide the depth of your fittings, we recommend using a drill stop on your 1/2 inch brad point. That way you can control the depth of which you're placing your fittings. The easiest way to set the drill stop is to place your 1/2 inch brad point through the drill guide and set your drill stop that way. This is a really easy visual way of seeing how deep in those fittings are to be. Next, you want to mark on your post where you want your first cable to run. If using our drill guide, go ahead and clamp it to your post. Our drill guides are the same width as your conventional 4-inch post, so it will line up perfectly. Go ahead and drill all your counter bore holes with your 1/2 inch brad point. Next, you're going to drill your pilot holes using either an 1/8 inch or 5/32 inch drill bit. Use a 5/32 inch bit if you're using a harder wood like Ipe. Our drill guide also comes with different size bushings to ensure a straight hole every time. Our drill guide does only have 9 holes, so if your system requires more than 9 strands of wire rope, you'll have to remove and replace the guide. The easiest way to do this is to take your 1/2 inch brad point, place it through one of the holes, unclamp the guide from the post, and move it up. Simply reclamp and repeat the steps to drill your countersink holes and your pilot holes. Go ahead and repeat these steps for your other end post, bearing in mind that you may want to change the depth that you set your drill stop to. Make sure to clean out all of the holes that you just drilled. Step number 2, drill in your fittings. Go to the post in which you drilled the holes for your swivel receivers. Using a 20 Torx bit, go down through the body of the receiver with your drill and drill them into the holes. Make sure to back the screw out at least 1/2 turn in order to allow the receiver to spin freely in the post as demonstrated. Next, using a 5mm hex bit, drill in your self-grip receivers to the other end post. Note that you do not go down through the body of these receivers. Note that the self-grip receivers do not need to move freely like the swivel receivers. Feel free to tighten them to the post. Step number 3, install your wire rope. Make sure the cap is placed on the wire rope face down as shown here before you proceed. Take the corresponding wire rope for the run and place the studded end of the wire rope into the swivel receiver. Turn receiver until about 1/4 inch of the threads are exposed on the stud as shown here. Once you repeat this step for all the swivel receivers in your post, this is the point where you would take the raw end of your wire rope and feed it through any mid posts. Next, pull the wire rope tight and bring it up next to the corresponding self-grip receiver on the opposite end post. Measure 1¼ inches past the start of the self-grip receiver and cut on this mark with a pair of wire rope cutters. Take that newly cut raw end of the wire rope, twist the end of it together to make sure there's no fraying, place that end into the self-grip receiver and push in while turning slightly clockwise. Push that wire rope in as deep as you can. You can go ahead and repeat this step for all of the remaining wire ropes. Step number 4 and the final step is to tension all the wire ropes. Go back to your swivel receivers. At this point, you will need a pair of vice grips and a 10mm wrench or our speed wrench. For this step, you want to make sure that you start with the middle wire rope and work your way outwards as shown in the diagram. Grab the wire rope with the vice grips in front of the receiver. Take your wrench and on the flats, turn the body of the receiver clockwise until the desired tension is reached. You may find that the cables you started with are now slack and you have to go back through and retension them. This is normal and you may have to work at it to reach full tension. Once you're done tensioning, go ahead and snap the caps into the end of your receivers. This is the final step of the installation process. The steps for installing our system on stairs are exactly the same. The only difference is that your counter holes and your pilot holes will be drilled at whatever angle your stairs are drilled at. We offer drill fixtures in 30, 32, 34, 36, and 38 degree increments for your stairs. Troubleshooting. The swivel receiver is bottomed out and your wire rope is still not fully tensioned. To solve this, take the cap off of the swivel receiver and turn the receiver counterclockwise while holding the wire rope still with a pair of vice grips. Keep turning until about 1/8 of the stud is exposed. Go back to the post with the self-grip receivers and pop the wire ropes out of the receivers using the self-grip release tool included with your order. Cut the wire rope about 1/8 of an inch and push it back into the receiver while turning clockwise. Follow the previous tensioning steps and tension. If it's still not reaching full tension, go back and repeat the step again. Next troubleshoot. Your wire rope is too short and it won't slide into the self-grip. Or you can't get the cap on your receiver because too much of the stud is exposed. To resolve this problem, you'll either need to purchase a new wire rope or you can remove the wire rope from the self-grip receiver, completely untension it from the swivel receiver, and back the swivel receiver out so it sticks out of the post further than the other ones. If you go this route, you may want to go back through and reset all your swivel receivers so they're all exposed the same amount. So there you have it. Those are all the steps to install our self-grip system for wood posts. If you ever have any problems, questions, or comments, feel free to shoot us an email at info@paraluxcable.com. Thanks.